few years ago, I went to Mexico, and I tell you what, the food was outstanding, particularly the street food. There were so many varieties of tacos, and I love that I get to come home back to Australia and recreate. So these are my crispy salmon skin tacos, and I'm going to be using these street tacos. They're fantastic because they're a little bit thicker and softer, just like the Mexican tacos, and I love them because they're palm sized. So before we start to warm them up, let's get this fish on. For crispy skin, make sure you bring your fish out of the fridge at least 15 minutes before you start cooking it. Use some paper toweling to pat the skin dry because moisture is the enemy for any crackling. Also, score the fish. So on the skin, we just pinch the salmon and then just a few incisions, not going too far into the flesh. And I'm putting the incisions on the thicker side of the fish just so more heat goes through. So third one. Now we need to oil this, so a little bit of extra virgin olive oil and a good pinch of salt because the salt is going to make it super crispy. And then I'll turn it over and do it on the other side. Now just rub it all over so make sure everything has a nice thin film of olive oil. Now I'm going to turn the heat on now. I don't want my pan to be super hot. So while it's still slowly warming up, I'm going to add the salmon fillets, skin side down, and then press on the salmon so they don't fold up too much. And now you can hear it start to crackle. That's what we're looking for, the heat just to slowly come up so it slowly develops that beautiful crust. I want it to almost snap. So this is the perfect way to do it. Now keep an eye on that. Fish needs to cook for the majority of the time on the skin side. When you start to see the protein start to go a light pink colour, then it's time to flip. Now I want to season my fish with some classic Mexican flavours. I'll add smoked paprika, some ground coriander and cumin, and then the zest of 1 lime straight over the bowl so we get all of those gorgeous oils from the lime onto those spices to give it more of a flavour. And I'll use the juice of this lime later on, and then some extra virgin olive oil just to bring this spice rub together with a pinch of salt. That's it. There's so many flavours going on there, so we just want to mix it. Maybe just a little bit more oil just to loosen it up a bit. Perfect. And that right there is an awesome flavour bomb. It smells so good, and I want to taste all those individual flavours, so that's why I'm going to keep it to the last minute. All right, let's have a look at this fish. See how the white colour on the fish is almost halfway up the fish? That's a perfect indication on when to turn it. And look at that skin, nice and crispy. We'll turn it over very quickly, just to flash fry it. And the last one. And that skin is just how I want it. Now, I'm turning it over really quickly just to seal it. Then we'll turn it back over again. Now we can brush our marinade all over the flesh. We don't want it on the skin because that's going to affect the crunchiness of it. Generously brushing it, and then we're going to flip it over again. Perfect. I'm really happy with that. It smells so good. But now let's just very quickly toast those spices by flipping it over. The fish needs 1 more minute. That's how fast it takes to cook. So let's finish all of these beautiful little accompaniments that go with it. Avocado salsa, nice ripe avocado. I'll cut in half. Oh, look at that, gorgeous. So we'll get a bowl and we'll scoop out this very ripe flesh. Now for some chili and some coriander into the bowl with a small amount of creamy sour cream just to bind it all together. And we need a little pinch of salt. So just with a fork, good old classic guacamole, we'll just mash that up. I like it to be a little bit chunky, so don't over mix it. And that's one of the sides done. I'm going to take this fish out. Just like any other meat you were cooking, it needs to rest. Pop it on a little tray. Oh, it smells good. And now I'm going to swap this over and pop another pan on. We'll just turn the heat on this, a medium heat, because we want to warm up our street tacos in a moment. So we'll let that rest over here. And now for another accompaniment to go with this, some cabbage. You can use iceberg lettuce, but I love the crunch of good old classic cabbage. I'll add a little bit of the lime juice, So good squeeze. And then while I've got another half, I'll add some of this lime juice to the avocado. Cabbage needs a bit of salt and then olive oil. And the wonderful thing about cabbage is as soon as you start to mix it together, it releases some of the juices so it becomes even more tender. So just scrunch it with your hands, it becomes even tastier. Great, so we've got our cabbage ready, the guacamole's ready. Let's warm up our street tacos. I'll do one at a time. And I just want them to soften a little bit so they're really pliable when I start to dress it with the salmon. I've got these little pickled onions. You get them from all your supermarkets. This is a great addition to the taco because it's going to give it a zingy, almost vinegary flavour, which is really, really lovely. It's also going to give a nice crunch. Let's have a look at this taco. We'll turn it over. Oh yes, we are ready to plate up. Our street taco in the centre. Get some of this salmon. And look at the colour there, see how it's golden? You can see the salmon just flakes away. That is absolutely perfect. Still blushing in the centre. I love the flakes of salmon. It really looks great on the taco. And then this skin. Crispy skin. This is my favourite part. Everyone throws away the skin. Don't throw it away. It's so delicious. So the first thing I like to add to my taco is our guacamole, and don't overfill it. We just want a small amount. Just like you were making a pasta, you never want to over sauce it so you can't taste the pasta. Now for our crunchy cabbage, and then this gorgeous salmon that is just cooked perfectly on top. A little bit of our crunchy salmon crackling, some extra chilli, why not? And our pickled onions, just a few of them over the top. And I think we need a little pop of colour from some coriander. That is such a cool street taco. You know, I love this type of cooking, particularly because it's an entertaining dish. You can warm up your street tacos, have many different varieties of fillings, and then just dig in and enjoy. That's almost better than the street tacos I had in Mexico. Almost.